Ladies and gentlemen, hello, this is Debo over at Land Say Go, and we have another exciting day of spoilers here for you, day 11. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. We've got a lot of really cool rares to talk about. We have a Silent Submarine, 2 blue for a vehicle with crew 2. It's a 2/3 and has the ability, whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. Now, you can obviously tell that this is a lower powered looter scooter. It doesn't have flying, it's not a 3 powered attacker in the air, it doesn't crew for 1, right? And it's also not 2 colorless, it's strictly 2 blue. So this is a worse version of that card. However, I do think we will see this in standard, and it'll be played alongside Skilled Animator, because Animator can turn this into a 5/5, and it's right on curve, so we could have this on turn 2, Animator on turn 3, turn this into a 5/5, swing in, deal 5 damage to our opponent, and draw a card. That's probably where this is going to see play. I don't really see it seeing play in much else, maybe on a blue tempo or something like that, but really I think that's going to be the cutesy combo that's going to be with this card. Next up we have Spark Double. It's 3 and a blue for an illusion, 0/0, and it basically has the ability when it enters the battlefield, as a copy of a creature you control or a planeswalker you control. If it's a creature, it enters with an extra +1/+1 counter, and if it's a planeswalker, it enters with an extra loyalty counter. This is really powerful, and it could probably see play in something like a Vannifar deck. And if anything, the fact that this can enter as a copy of a non-legendary copy of one of your planeswalkers allows you to double up on some of your crazy planeswalker shenanigans. This card is going to be really powerful. It's going to see a lot of play also in formats like Commander. And I'm just flabbergasted by this card. I think it's really good. Next up, we're seeing even more of the gods. We have Enter the God Eternals, 2 blue, blue, black. It's a sorcery, and it says it deals 4 damage to target creature, and you gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Now, the reason why it's worded this way is in case we have some sort of a damage doubler. This will allow us to gain, let's say, 8 life instead of just 4. So that's pretty good. And then it has target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard and then amass 4. So if you don't already have a zombie army, all of a sudden you get a 4/4 along with this, gravy. But for that mill ability, that's pretty good. We can either, we could play this if we want as a good removal spell in a blue-black mill list if we're going to go jank with it, or we can use it how it's probably meant to be used, to mill ourselves in a zombie list and be able to cast those creatures from our graveyard using Liliana Untouched by Death. I think this card's going to be really good. It's very powerful. Yeah, if you pull this in Limited, definitely try to play it. God Eternal Bantu, 3 black, black for a 5/6 with Menace, Zombie God. And when God Eternal Bantu enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents, and then you draw that many cards. And then it has the same thing as the Raise Boar had, where whenever it is killed or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may choose to put it the 3rd from the top of your library. So it's kind of got that recursion effect. With God Eternal Bantu, I think this is going to see play in something like a Mardu Aristocrats list. You also might see play in something like an Afterlife list, and he could also just see play in a zombie list. You kill your zombies, you get them back with your Liliana Untouched by Death. I think he's a good card. It's definitely a bomb if you pull him in Limited. I'm just floored by these gods, and they all seem to be 5 mana, which is kind of neat. Speaking of gods, we also have God Eternal Ronus, 3 green, green for another zombie god. It's a 5/5 with Death Touch, and when it enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. These creatures gain Vigilance until end of turn, and then again he has that same, whenever he dies or is exiled, you may put him the 3rd from the top of your library. Now with God Eternal Ronus, I actually kind of find this fun with the red god. You could swing in with the Raise Boar, drop in your God Eternal Ronus here for free, and then all of a sudden your Raise Boar is getting in as a 12/12 trampler, and then you get to pick up your Ronus at the end of turn to be able to do it again the next turn. That seems really broken. And not to mention, if you already have like a Galta out or something like that, it could be game winning. So this card is extremely powerful. It's definitely going to be the top end of a good a green beater list. I mean, this card is really good. We've also got a couple of planeswalkers. Tamiyo, Collector of Tales, 2 green and a blue for a 5 loyalty rare planeswalker. It has the ability spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents. Wow, that is powerful. That is a control killer. It's just a really great card. And then it has an ability of +1, choose a non-land card name, and then reveal at the top 4 of your library. Then you can put all cards with that name that you chose into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. And then the -3 here is you can return target card from your graveyard to your hand so that they work off of each other. Now what this actually made me think of is we have the perfect piece for a green-blue persistent petitioners list. So we could run upwards of 40 petitioners in our deck. We cast a Tamiyo, we tick her up, we name petitioner, we could potentially draw 4 of them. That's been the biggest thing with that deck, is you just can't draw enough petitioners to mill out your opponent. Well, with this, you possibly can. It's also really good if you need to, if you're going to go green-blue with it, you can play it like in a fog list, so you can tick up, try to find your fogs. I think she's going to be kind of cheeky. I don't know if she's going to see a ton of play anywhere else, but I think she's hilarious. Tamiyo's Epiphany, however, is 3 and a blue for a sorcery. It's got scry 4, then draw 2 cards. Could be mainly a limited card. Because it's sorcery speed, I don't think it's going to see any standard play whatsoever. Maybe in a Wilderness Reclamation list, because they can untap at that point. But I think that the instant speed here is what's really killing it for this card. It's going to be good limited, maybe see some play in Commander, not going to see that much play in Standard. Then we also have Gideon the Oathsworn, 4 white for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. I think this is actually going to be one of the Planeswalker deck Planeswalkers, and it has the ability whenever you attack with 2 or more non-Gideon Planeswalkers, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. And it has +2, it turns into a 5/5 human soldier. That's still a Planeswalker. It becomes indestructible, can swing in. And then it also has a -9. This is what's really interesting. You can exile Gideon the Oathsworn and each creature your opponent controls. So it becomes an exile effect on a Planeswalker. That's actually pretty easy to get to. You know, it's 3 attacks. I mean, again, this is probably going to not see play in Standard. It's likely to see more play in something like Commander, maybe in Gideon Tribal and Modern. But really, this is a Commander card. We also have a tutor for this card, Gideon's Battlecry, 2 white. You can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and then you can tutor it up. It's pretty great, especially if you want this card. Again, a good piece to put in your Commander decks. I think that's really where this is going to go. And then we also have Gideon's Company, 3 and a white, and it has whenever you gain life, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Gideon's Company. It's a 3/3 human soldier. So right there we have like an Ajani's Pridemate type of a thing, where instead of putting a single +1/+1 counter, we put 2, and it costs 2 more to come down. This actually might see play in Standard. It's kind of a decent card in a list like that, and it's very powerful, and it has another ability of 3 and a white, put a loyalty counter on a Gideon Planeswalker. So it becomes a mana sink for when you're running with your Gideons late in the game. And on top of that, whenever you just gain life, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And there's a lot of things we can do with that right now to make this thing out of control. Well, that's all we have for spoilers for today. Again, this is Debo over at landsaygo.com. We appreciate you guys coming out and taking a listen. Feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Feel free to join us over at landsaygo.com. We post things every single day, and we look forward to talking to you guys again soon.